Welcome to this week's episode of Simply Ann. Today I'm going to be making this fun kind of nature card, and it's using some new card toppers, and these are gold Color Me card toppers. You can see as I move it, the gold will be kind of shining out at you. And on the inside are some gold fern dazzles, so those actually complement the Color Me quite well. And in the Color Me card topper pack, you do have several choices of greetings as well as blanks. So it's got a great variety. So I'm going to show you a few of the things I used, and then we'll get right into the project. For my project, some of the main things I'm going to be using are the Heritage paper pack, the Heritage ribbons, which match perfectly with the papers in the pack, the gold Ferns dazzles, and the gold Ferns Color Me card toppers, which are really kind of the star of the show since they are newer and they have such a cool effect. They're so easy to use since they're already made to go on the top of your card. There really isn't much need for a ton of other decoration, and since they're Color Me, you can color them any color you want, and really you're getting 6 of them per package, so 6 cards, all personalized, and you can make each one different, or you can even make them the same colors, so lots of possibilities with that. With that, let's get started on the project. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut around the outer line of this, and I'm leaving a little bit of white space around it, and I'm going to do all of that, and then I'm also going to cut out this center area because that's going to be backed with some other paper. So I'll come back when I'm done with that. Okay, so I've cut all of the edges out, and as you can see, I've left that thin white border. And the next thing I'm going to do is a technique I haven't shown on Simply Ann yet. I'm going to paint in just the outer border of the Color Me with this color ink, but I'm going to use a paintbrush just with a little bit of water, and it's good to have a paper towel handy. And I'm also using just a clear acrylic block. Now you could use pretty much any slick surface or plastic lid or something like that, but what I'm going to do is take my ink pad. Now I'm using creamy brown, but if you have a similar color, that will work just as well. And I'm just gonna dab it onto my acrylic block. And I just want to acknowledge the viewer who also suggested this technique to me. And it works really well for small spaces on the Color Me. So I'm taking my paintbrush. I just rinsed it off with the water and dabbed it on my paper towel. Now I'm going to not forget the scratch paper to go underneath my my Color Me piece here, and I'm gonna take my brush and dip it in the ink. Just kind of pick up that ink on my brush, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint this inner edge, and it goes on pretty easily. And then I'm just going to grab a little more ink and continue on until I've finished this little border. And after I've done that, I'm going to do the same thing on these outer edges, and then we'll continue coloring the front of our card. Okay, so I've finished coloring just the edges of the cutout card here. And the next thing I'm going to do is take my maroon ink pad. Now this is a burgundy color, so if you have a similar color, it doesn't have to be this exact one, you can use that as well. And I'm going to color this outer border of the center shape here, using that same technique with the brush, and grabbing some ink off of here, and make sure my brush is nice and saturated. I'm just going to paint in that rich color. And the cool thing about this is if you don't get the exact shade you want find a clear space on your acrylic block and stamp another color, and you can actually mix the colors together on your block without having to mess up your ink pad. So say I wanted a little more brownish red, I would just mix those together, and there's my nice kind of brick red color. So that's another fun tip. It's kind of like painting with watercolors. So I'm going to finish that border. Now when you're done coloring your border, don't forget to go in with the corner of a paper towel and wipe off the parts of the gold embossed area that have been painted over with the ink. So for example, you can kind of see that red part right there. I'll just wipe that off with the paper towel. However, do not wipe the ink over onto the blank part because you can stain the wrong part of your card that way. So just try and be careful to only stay inside the border. Now I'm going to use a third color. This one's called Lime Pastel. It's kind of a nice light green. And I'm just going to dab some on my acrylic block again. This time I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush because I'm covering a little more area, all of this white space. And I can also take a second block and maybe put some of that creamy brown on there in case I want to give my green a little bit more of a mottled shaded look. So once again, just inking up my brush. And your brush should wash out with soap and water from the fluid chalk ink pad, so that's no problem. I'm just gonna brush outward from the border, and don't forget to refill your brush with ink because you can tell a difference in the shade after you use it for a while without refilling it. Alright, so my card topper is colored and it's got a kind of a earthy greenish brownish look to it. The next step I'm going to do is set this aside for a second. Take my card blank card, and I'm going to cover this card with this reddish brown flowers paper. Now here's a little tricky part. So I'm going to take this piece, opening my card, and place it just like this on the center of the front flap. Then I'm going to take a pencil and trace the inner edges of this shape. Right onto the front flap. Okay. And this is going to eventually be a hole. So you can see that when I cut out this hole, it will match up with this hole. So I'm actually going to cut out just outside of the line that I just traced. And so this hole will be slightly larger than the front hole so that it'll have a little bit of leeway so it doesn't have to line up exactly. And the holes will line up and you'll be able to see the inside of the card that way. So I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and go ahead and cut out just outside of this line. So here is my window opening on the front and my Color Me card topper window, and it does fit over that opening. So if you look on the inside, if you look closely, you can see how there's just a little bit of difference between the inner and outer shapes here. But the important thing is that none of the red shows on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. Now I've gone ahead and covered the inside with the same paper as I did the outside, so you can see here how nicely the window opens to this lovely red and brown pattern. And my next step is to work on the inside. So I'm going to go to my page of greetings, and I'm going to use this greeting right here. And I'm just going to cut it out right along the jagged line here. So right along that gold edge, and it helps to have short blade scissors so you can go along that detail. So I've cut out my greeting, and it's going to go on the inside of my card right about there. But before I glue that down or foam tape it, I'm going to use my gold Ferns dazzles to add a little bit of bling to peek through that window in the front. So I'm going to start with this long, tall one. And when you're peeling off these fern dazzles, some of them are easier to peel off than others. This one's a really easy one. The wider ones, you may have to kind of start in different places to peel off. But for this one, I'm just gonna start it at the bottom and kind of angle it towards the left. Just like that. And it looks like I have a tiny bit of a wrinkle right there, so the nice thing about these dazzles is you can peel them up and reposition them nice and smooth. So you can see it kind of peeks out of the front of my card there, which I like. So I'll probably do another dazzle coming around this way. I'm going to take it from here. So it's got that nice little swirl at the end. So I think that looks pretty cool. So remember to position it right about here. Placing it carefully. And then I can even add another swirl just on its own coming out of the greeting itself. There we go. Alrighty, so next step is I'm going to foam tape this down. Now that I've foam taped my greeting down, I'm going to just add one more fern kind of pointing this way from the top. Just like that. Kind of balance out that area so when I close it, it's peeking out. And I really like how that looks. It's kind of a hidden little forest in the inside. So the last thing I'm going to do is add ribbon. And I'm going to use this sheer swirl ribbon. And I've already made my bow. And that's going to go right there. So that's going to finish our card. And I'm going to secure it with my small Zots. One of my favorite craft inventions. And I'm going to get a couple of Zots on here just to make sure it's really secure on the center of the knot. And then I'm just going to position in place. Okay, great. So our Color Me Gold Ferns card is finished. The inside is kind of a little surprise. So partially hidden, and then I love how the gold ferns give it a nice woodsy feel to it. Thanks again for watching Simply Ann. Don't forget to stay tuned for the savings bundle and join me again next week for another fun project. In this week's bundle, we have the gold fern card toppers. Now these are Color Me card toppers, so you can color them any color you wish. And there are 2 each of 3 card topper designs. So here's the first. Then this lovely large fern and a kind of striped collage of designs. And then you also get some labels and greetings. So you get the labels that have the greetings already printed on them, and then you also get a sheet of just blank ones so you can personalize them to suit your needs. Also, we have the Heritage paper pack, and here's the front of the package, on which we always give you some project ideas, which is always helpful. And on the back, you'll see even more ideas, matching products that you might want to check out, and images of each of the papers themselves, which we're going to take a look at right now. So like all of our paper packs, our regular paper packs, this has 12 sheets of paper, 2 each of 6 designs. So I'm just going to go through the 6 designs with you. Here's the first, and it's an all, this is a surrounding border with a pretty kind of swirl corner right there. And then we've got this dark brown, chocolatey brown design with some black details on here with flowers. Some stripes that have matching colors with the rest. I do like this kind of rustic color combination with the reds, browns, tans, and blacks. This one's really pretty. You can really see the rose or the flower detailing come out in the red. And all over sort of calico floral patterns. And a beige or tan dot with some, if you look closely, there's some kind of handwriting texture on the side here, which is a really nice touch. In addition to those 2 items, we have the Heritage ribbon set, and here are all the ribbons in the set. There are 12 ribbons. Each ribbon you're getting 36 inches of, so really you're getting quite a variety in lengths, good size lengths for your projects. And finally, the Fern Dazzles, and these are also gold to match your gold Color Me here. And as well, on the package we have the project idea, and on the back how to use them, and it also shows you a detailed image of each of the shapes on this sheet, and it has 22 gold ferns on it. So that's the bundle for today. I hope you guys enjoy.